Welcome to all in an PRISL International webinar on role of mucin 1 oncoprotein in cancer progression. As you know that according to our ICMR survey, around 1,300 people die of cancer every day in India. And cancer is the second most leading cause of death after cardiovascular disease in US. Cancer being a multi-cause disease many times leads to fatal healthcare issues if not diagnosed at early stage. So by keeping this thing in mind, we have planned this webinar on this to know the facts and every aspects of cell progression. And with this words, I would like to invite all the participants in PRISL International webinar, and I would like to welcome our resource person, Dr. Mayadatt Joshi. Let me brief about him. He is having a teaching experience and research experience of more than 10 years. He is working as associate professor in Department of Biotechnology, Shobit University, Merit. He has done his BSc from Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati University, Ajmer. He did his postdoctoral from Harvard University, and apart from that, he is work on nanomedicine and cancer. So, with this word, I would like to welcome Dr. Mayadatt once again.
Much, Dr. Preeti, for such a nice and wonderful introduction about myself. I welcome all the participants, and I also thankful to PRISL International team for giving me this opportunity to express my views on the role of mucin 1 oncoprotein in cancer progression. So, first of all, as told by the Preeti, that I have done my postdoctoral research in field of cancer from Harvard Medical School, Boston, USA. So my topic is basically based on, presently I am associate professor in Department of Biotechnology, so with deemed University Meerut, and I'm still engaged in some work, research work with some my PhD students in the area of cancer. So I would first like to share my slides with all the participants so that you can better understand about the cancer. So, my topic is the role of mucin 1 oncoprotein in cancer progression. First of all, I would like to introduce all of you towards what is cancer. And the cancer is one of the deadly disease which is characterized by uncontrolled proliferation of cells. So what happens in cancer is that many times due to genetic alterations in DNA or mutations, there is a enormous increase in cell division, and the cell cycle it goes very fast, and the cells multiply at a very fast rate, and they develop a, mass of cells which we call as tumor, which later on becomes a malignant tumor. So it is very common disease in India and in western world, and it is already told by ICMR that 1,300 people die every day from cancer in India, and 25% of the death in US is due to cancer. So it is very important for us to know about cancer and what are the causes of cancer, how cancer develops, and how we can treat the cancer. So we will basically start with this introduction, and later on I will come to my topic of mucin 1. So you can see leukemia cells, how they look like. Leukemia means blood cancer. So in blood cancer, like the blood cells, they divide very fast, and it is very difficult to treat on the later stages. So most common causes of death from cancer, like there are many types of cancer. I will briefly describe what are the different types of cancer. So most commonly, there is a large number of death from lung cancer. So it is in the first position, followed by colorectal, breast, prostate, pancreas, esophagus, stomach, bladder, non-Hodgkin lymphoma, ovarian cancer, leukemia, kidney, and many types of cancer. So lung cancer is the number one. Many people in India and worldwide, they are dying of lung cancer. So now I would like to discuss with you what are the various causes or reasons of cancer, why cancer occurs. So the primary reason behind cancer is the mutation in oncogenes and tumor suppressor genes. So first we have to understand what are oncogenes and tumor suppressor genes. So these some of the genes which are located in the nucleus, because we know that genes are located in the nucleus. So these genes, they have role in the transcription of the proteins which are involved in cell cycle. So these oncogenes, when they are hyperactivated, when they are activated very fast, so they lead to cancer. And similarly, there are other genes which we call them tumor suppressor genes. So as from the name itself, it is they suppress the cancer. It means that when they, in the normal condition, they prevent the cancer. So whenever there is mutation in either oncogene or tumor suppressor genes, it lead to cancer. So some of the examples of oncogenes are MEK, Jun, FOS. So all these oncogenes are early transcription factors, and tumor suppressor genes are retinoblastoma, which leads to eye cancer, P53, BRCA genes. So these genes are responsible for when there is some mutation. So this leads to cancer initiation. The second most important cause of cancer is environmental factors, which we call them carcinogens, because carcinogens is any agent in the environment which it can be a physical agent, it can be chemical, or it can be a biological agent. So it can be, so these are basically environmental agents like radiations. When we talk about radiations like UV radiations or other ionizing radiations, they lead to cancer. So they are the physical agents. And chemical agents include chemicals. Some of the chemicals, they are carcinogenic, like sometimes pesticides. When we talk about pesticides, or when we talk about the industrial effluents, so they are toxic. They are toxic chemicals. So if people or human beings in the during agriculture or during the food industry, so when some person eat these toxic chemicals, they go inside the body and they cause the cancer. Biological agents include papilloma virus and adenoviruses. So these are the viruses which are known for to infect the humans, and these viruses, they cause a specific type of like hepatocellular cancer, like liver cancer. So it is caused by papilloma virus or adenovirus. The third important cause of cancer is food habits and lifestyle. So you already know that many people, they chew the tobacco, and similarly many people, they used to smoke. And there is another category like people drinkers who drink a lot of alcohol. So these are the three major factors which are responsible for causing cancer, because tobacco chewing results in the mouth cancer, or it can lead to other cancers also. Smoking results into lung cancer, because the chain smokers, all the even the polluted air, when we inhale the polluted air, it also contains smoke particles. So the smoke contains the carcinogens. So when we inhale such bad air or smoke inside our lungs, so it leads to lung cancer. Similarly, people who drink a lot of alcohol, it lead to liver cancer, because their liver got damaged, and there is a hepatic injury or damage to the liver, and such people sooner or later they die of cancer. Another thing is, if we don't do regular physical activity or exercise or yoga, so these physical activities keep our body fit, and the people who used to do regular exercise, they have less chances of getting cancer. So these are the three important causes which I have discussed with you, like mutations, genetic factors, environmental factors, and food habits. So these are the main cause of cancer. You know about Kali Nadi in Meerut, okay, and Hindon River in Bagpat. So these Kali Nadi and Meerut and a lot of people in the villages surrounding Sobit University, and they suffer from cancer because they are using that polluted Kali Nadi water for the irrigation purpose, or they use that water in the agriculture. So now some research is going on. What might be the cause of cancer in those villagers which use this polluted water? And one more thing has come into light, that this polluted water contains heavy metals. So I would like to focus your attention that heavy metals are also the important cause of cancer. So if somehow through water or food these heavy metals come into our food chain, so it can also lead to cancer. So this might be a most probable reason that the villagers surrounding Kali Nadi or Hindon River, they suffer from cancer. Now you must know that there is a train called cancer train which runs from Bhatinda, Punjab to Bikaner, which is in Rajasthan, every day. So according to a newspaper, so there is a report that 60% people who travel through this cancer train are cancer patients. They suffer from different type of cancers. So why they go to Bikaner? Because in Bikaner there is a registered hospitals which from where they get concessions. They can treat the cancer at less price, like Acharya Tulsi Regional Cancer Hospital and Research Center in Prince Bijoy Singh Memorial Hospital. So these are the hospitals where these cancer patients they go in the Bikaner. So we should be aware that a lot of people in India they suffer from cancer every day. That's why this train runs every day. Now I will tell about the types of cancers. So based on the tissue which is affected in cancer, it is of three types. Carcinomas are the cancer of epithelial cells. Like if any part of the organ, if the epithelial cell is affected, like lung cancer, lung carcinoma, renal kidney carcinoma, breast carcinoma, and cervical carcinoma, ovarian, a lot of carcinomas when the cancer appear in the epithelial cells. Now, what is sarcoma? Sarcoma is the cancer of connective tissue, like bone cancer. It is an example of sarcoma. Lymphoma includes the blood cancer. Like we sometimes white, it occurs in white blood cells or red blood cells. Now, based on the severity of cancer, how severe is the cancer? So there are two categories: benign tumor. Benign tumor is any tumor which starts in a particular tissue which has not spread yet. So when the cancer arises, it occurs in a single tissue, like it occurs in the lungs, or it occurs in the ovary, or it occurs in the kidney. But when it grows and grows, it finds very less space, so it bursts open from that tissue and it comes in the bloodstream. And through the bloodstream, it is spread to all parts of the body through the process called metastasis. So after the cancer is spread to the whole body through metastasis, it is called malignant cancer. So malignant cancer is a serious form of cancer. So when a patient goes to doctor and informed about the pain or other symptoms, if a person is suffering from malignant cancer, it becomes very difficult even for the doctor, because it needs a lot of time and lot of money for the complete treatment of malignant cancers. Now, what are the different therapies for treatment of cancer? So already the doctors, they are using a different type of treatment therapies for cancer. Like first one is chemotherapy. So whenever we use any kind of uh, like medicines, or basically, you know, or most of the medicines, they are chemicals, so that is why it is called chemotherapy. So chemotherapy, it is done for a long period, because the cancer patient, if it is in the later stage, it needs a lot of time. The second is the surgery. Surgery is the most simple type of treatment method. So in surgery, that particular tumor is completely dissected or removed out from the body of the patient. The third one is radiotherapy. Radiotherapy is the radiations, sometimes high energy radiations, they are put on the cancerous part of the body, or sometimes, like if a person is suffering from skin cancer, so we doctors use radiotherapy. What is immunotherapy? Immunotherapy is like we use antibodies. So you know, like cancer, cancer occurs sometimes due to viruses. I already told you, and it also occurs due to some antigenic reactions, because like some genes, they got hyperactivated. So antibodies, they also are used for treatment of nanotechnology nowadays. Like nanoparticles, like silver nano, gold nanoparticles are used for treatment of cancer. So we call it as a nano, like nanotubes, or carbon nanoparticles. So these type of nanoparticles, they are not harmful like gold nanoparticles. So we can encapsulate the drug inside these nanoparticles, and it is a type of drug delivery system. So we deliver the drug to a particular targeted cancerous tissue. And what is the advantage of nano technology is that the bioavailability of the drug increases when we use nanoparticles, because maximum amount of drug reaches to the cancerous tissue, and we get better results in less time. Now there is a hormonal therapy. So because in two types of cancer, like breast cancer and prostate, breast cancer, it is occurs due to disturbance in estrogen receptors, and prostate cancer occur in male due to androgen receptor. So these male and female hormones we can deliver from outside. Now the other treatment is stem cell transplantation. We all know that what are stem cells. Stem cells can differentiate into any kind of cell. So suppose your liver got cancer, or a kidney got cancer, so we can replace that damaged part with a specific type of stem cell, and then stem cell rejuvenate the whole cancerous tissue. Now precision medicine, this is nowadays very common. What is precision medicine? That precision medicine is a medicine which is prepared on the basis of genetic mutations. So sometimes I told you that many of the cancers, they are due to mutations and genetic alterations. So if we know the genetic history of a particular patient, we can give prescribe him a specific type of medicine which can be better for the treatment of that specific cancer. Now there are some future cancer detection and treatment therapies nowadays. The scientists, they have found new therapies like proton beam therapy. So in proton beam therapy, protons are used to damage or insert the separate the cancer cells. And nowadays single cell sequencing technology and artificial intelligence is also coming into light. Like many scientists, they have developed the artificial intelligence based detection system for the detecting cancer at the early stage. So nowadays we are focusing on like how we can prevent the cancer at the early stage, because it is easy if you detect it at the early stage. Otherwise what will happen, it will spread to the whole body, and then you keeps on spending money. So a lot of money got expended for treatment of. So we have to prevent it at the early stage. Now I will come to my postdoctoral research work. So in my postdoctoral research from Harvard, so I worked on our team. Was working on mucin 1 oncoprotein. So mucin 1 oncoprotein, it is a very large oncoprotein. So what we find that it has two parts, like N terminal region, like you can see MUC1N, and there is a C terminal region, and there is a transmembrane region. N terminal region remains outside the cell membrane, and the C terminal or cytosolic region, it remains inside the cytoplasm. So what the group has found that this mucin 1 C terminal cytosolic domain, it is responsible for cancer. So what we find that you can see the sequence of this MUC1C cytosolic. It has ED extracellular domain, TM transmembrane domain, and CD cytosolic domain. So what we find that this cytosolic domain is responsible for cancer, because how it causes cancer. So mucin 1 oncoprotein, it interacts the cytosolic domain of the protein which is inside the cell. uh, you can see in this figure, like this MUC1C interact with several proteins, leading to activation of c-MYC and cyclin D1 gene activation. Like you can see that this MUC1C here, you can see MUC1C. it is interacting with SRC, beta catenin, GSK3 beta, and all these proteins it form a complex. Okay, and then with the help of transcription factor, transcription factors are the proteins which can bind directly to the DNA or promoter. So with the help of transcription factors, mucin 1 goes inside the nucleus and it activates the promoter of c-MYC and other oncogenes, and that's how these oncogenes get activated. So mucin 1 has a role in activation of oncogenes. So without we do experiment, what we do, we inhibit this mucin 1 C part. We design a siRNA, small interfering RNA, and at the same time we also design a peptide. I will explain all these things to you because I will explain in a simple manner so that everybody can understand. So our purpose is that we want to see the role of MUC1C. So how we can check the function? We have to block it. We want to see what is when we block it, we will see what effect is occurring. So we designed a peptide for this region and we treat the cancer cells with this peptide. So what we observed is that the cells which are having more protein, like DU, we did the Western blotting, immunoblotting. This is the, you can see in DU, this cell line, a huge band. It means it is having more amount of MUC1C protein. So when we treat these type of cells which are having more expression of MUC1C, we find that these cells, they die very fast. So it means that when we are adding peptide, you can see when we are adding peptide, the cells are dying fast according to the expression of MUC1 protein. You can see here this cell line Allen cap. It does not have MUC1. It is MUC1 is absent. So when we add peptide, MUC1 peptide to this cell line, we don't find any cell death. Why? Because this peptide does not, because this cell line does not have MUC1. So how it will inhibited by the peptide? So the inhibition is only shown on those cells which has more amount of MUC1C protein. You can see here this the GO201 is the MUC1 peptide. Okay, so this we add the peptide and we see what is the effect of this peptide on the, you can see here this peptide, when we add the peptide to the cell lines, so you can see the cells, they die within 6 days. You can see here this is the DU145 which has the highest expression of MUC1C. So in comparison to this, when we treat the Allen cap cells which does not express MUC1C protein, we don't find any type of change in the cell death on day 2, day 4, and day 6. You can see these bars are almost similar. You are able to see that these bars are almost similar. But here, when you see these bars in these cells, you can see the dark bar is very low level. So it means this cell line is responding to peptide. But this Allen cap is not responding to peptide because this cell line does not express the protein. So only those cell lines are responding which express the protein. So now we see what is the reason of cell death, why cells are dying. We see that cells, the peptide, it inhibits the cell proliferation. It stops the cell proliferation. But what is the reason? So when we go for the FACS analysis, we do the cell, we check the flow cytometry. It means that through this technique, we come to know, we stain the cells, dead cells, with propidium iodide. It is a dye. And so the dead cells, they stain with this dye, propidium iodide. So we came to know that the cancer cells, they are dying through the process of necrosis. We don't find any apoptosis. So we treat the cells, you can see, for 3 days, and similarly we treat the cells for 4 days. So in 4, you can see here there is not much difference in day 3 and day 4. So but we found that the cell death is due to necrosis. Necrosis is the process in which the cells, they die due to stress conditions. The reactive oxygen species, it increases, and the cell, the DNA, it goes, DNA damage occurs and the cells die. Okay, so this peptide, this MUC1C peptide is killing the cells through necrosis. Okay. Now you see cell death through necrosis. So we also do experiments on xenograft. Okay, I want to tell you the participants that xenografts are the immunocompromised mice. So they don't have any hairs, and they have very less immunity. So how we develop this model, that we inject the cancer cells into the sub just below the skin of the mice. So these mice, they develop the tumor because their immune system is very weak. So they develop the subcutaneous tumor, and then what we do, we start treating these mice through injecting the peptide. We inject the peptide, you can see, for 33 days. Okay, so almost 1 month. And here you can see that in the control, the tumor size, it keeps on growing, but in the peptide treated mice, the tumor, it you can see it comes to zero, almost vanishes after 1 month. So it means that the peptide, the MUC1C peptide, is also reducing the size of tumor, or also keeping it a very low level after treatment for 1 month. So we also do study on we check the ROS level. You can see this peptide, it increases the, this is G0, GO20, this is the MUC1C peptide. We also prepare a control peptide, okay, for comparison. So you can see the ROS is very high in case of MUC1 peptide, and control peptide is very low. So it means that this peptide is killing the cells uh, by increasing the level of reactive oxygen species, ROS. Okay, similarly, here we can see that when we treat the cells with peptide, it decreases the it decreases the mitochondrial membrane potential, because mitochondria is also involved in the cell death, which occurs due to necrosis. Because if the cells don't get energy, how they will divide? Because for cell division, the cells get energy from mitochondria. So if the mitochondria is potential is decreasing, it means the mitochondria is not healthy. So due to that, the cells die. Okay, so similarly, we also do other studies. So just we confirm that this is MUC1C specific peptide is killing the cancer cells, and this the cell death is due to necrosis and not due to apoptosis. We checked it into the nude mice or xenograft tumors also. We find good results in the mice also. So nowadays, this peptide, this MUC1C peptide, it is the results, they come good in animals also. We tested in dog, because I came back to India, but my PI, I came to know that this peptide is in the clinical trial, human clinical trial. So it is getting, we are getting good result in this peptide, and all the cancer cells which have this protein. So all the cancer cells, they are dying, or they are showing good cell death. So we can say that it can be a probable drug, or it may come in the market very soon, and it will have a profound effect on the cancers in which this protein is expressing in more amount. So it can inhibit this protein, and person can get rid of cancer. So it is it is how that we can I want to tell you that this mucin 1 protein, it is very important for the growth of cells also. But in normal cells, its expression is normal, very less. Okay, but in cancer cells, it express in a very high level. So you as everybody know that if some protein is expressing in high amount, it can lead to abnormality. So similarly, we found that all those cancer cells, they are expressing more amount of this protein, and we targeted this protein with synthesizing it is a synthetic peptide. We have the sequence, and we synthesize it in the lab, and now it will maybe if the clinical trials comes out good, so this peptide maybe come to market as a anti-cancer drug. So now we can target other proteins also, but basically my work was in this protein, so I concentrated, and our lab was working on like lung cancer, breast cancer, every type of cancer. but my work was on prostate cancer. I worked on prostate cancer there, and we found very interesting results. So I used prostate cancer cell lines, and I used the xenograft of prostate cancer, and very interesting results, and very good results. That can lead this peptide maybe, because we have my PI, he already patented this peptide, and very soon it will come in the market. So thank you very much. And now uh, um, I any question, if anybody want to ask any question.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Dr. Maya, can you please stop screen share so that you will be.
Okay. Yes.
Uh,
uh,
Thank you so much. In a very short way, you have covered all the aspects. Even you have let us know like what uh, what are the aspects and what segment you're working. So my question
yes,
is that since you have told us like the peptides you are going to like patented, you're working on
yes,
that
yes.
part. So I just wanted to
My
know that how
mm,
the student has a question on my WhatsApp, like how the peptide is killing our cancer cells.
okay, we add the peptide in the cell lines. Okay, so and we counted the cells on the microscope. Okay, we just count it, and we found that there is 80% cell death. But we want to know that how why these cells are being killed. So what is the reason? So we do the flow cytometry, or FACS study. So FACS is a technique which tells you that how your cells are dying, because you stain the cells with propylium iodide dye, and it will tell you whether there is a fragmentation of DNA, or what is the reason of cell death. So we came to know that the cell death is due to necrosis, because we don't find any apoptosis in the flow cytometry. So that's how we confirm that the peptide is killing the cancer cells through necrosis.
Exactly. Even you have worked on the breast cancer. See, this
Yes,
mucin
yes,
one is also working on that part also.
yes, yes,
It is
yes.
useful in
Ye-
that. So,
yes,
have you
yes,
any
of course.
work on that?
Yes. Yes, I am, because in my lab in Harvard, so we have many projects going on simultaneously. I am working on the prostate cancer, and my seniors, there are Chinese guy and Japanese, so they are working on breast cancer, lung cancer, different type of cancers. So what we found exciting is that in breast cancer also this protein is overexpressing, and we also found overexpression in lung cancer, and other cancers also, because we are working on 3 or 4 types of cancer. So we found good results of this peptide in
So, which
breast cancer also.
cell line you have used for that?
We used MCF7, and we used JR,
So, how is the
ZR.
result on MCH? You have used that MCF10.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
MCF10A. Yes.
Yes, yes.
MCF10, actually MCF10 is an epithelial cell line, so it does not express very high mucin 1. So we get cell death, but it is very less, but in comparison to MCF7, because MCF7 is the highly expressing mucin 1. So we get more cell death in MCF7 in comparison to 10A.
Okay. If
Yes.
from the participants, if anyone has any query, can you please join us? Because we have only 5 minutes. You need to unmute yourself and you can ask question.
Yes,
Dr. Osni, you
anybody.
have any query? Till you have find I request participants, you can find your questions till I just say thanks Dr. Maya Dutt Joshi sir for being with us
Okay.
as a resource person. You have give you a wonderful deliberation on the role of mucin on proteins and then cell progression. Even you have covered like the malignant and the early stage and radiotherapy, chemotherapy. Every aspects you have covered in your presentation. So that is really good. For the from the beginning you have started. Even you have told us about various aspects of the cancer progression and how we can prevent it. And thanks to all the participants for being with us in this session. I would like to thanks once again, and please accept this token of remembrance from our side.
Thank you very
And at
much.
last, I just wanted to say that what message you wanted to give to all the participants, researchers,